And we are back once again. I am Robert Craig, and I'm back again to do my thing. We're making videos on the book of Revelation. We'll be using this book right here, the Holy Bible, King James. And we have come to almost to the end of the period of the seal judgments. Not quite, but we are at chapter 8, verse 1. Now, this is another peculiarity. Every time a seal is opened, every time a trumpet blows, every time a bowl or a vial is poured out, something drastic happens on the earth. But on the seventh of each of these, there is a similarity. Oh, that was the other theory that someone mentioned to me once, was the parallel theory, that the seven seals are the seven trumpets, are the seven bowls, and they're all the same. But you'll see something similar, but something very different happen on the seventh of each of these. Verse 1 of chapter 8. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. So that's what happens. That's the first thing that happens in the seventh seal. Now, we won't say that the seven seal period is over at that point, but I think a couple of more things happen, and they may be kind of setting the stage, so to speak. This is where people get the telescoping theory, I think, the one I don't agree with. And I saw the seven angels which stood before God, and to them were given seven trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. Now, to me, that is the beginning of the period of the trumpets. It is the line of demarcation between the seals and the trumpets. But if you see it differently, I'm okay with that. Verse 6, and the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. I think this tells us that this is a localized effect. It's something that affects 1/3 of the Earth's land surface and the sea surface. It's a geographic thing, in other words. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And I think the bitterness here refers to a toxic effect. Verse 12, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. So these first four trumpets were four woes that were cast upon the earth. All right, here's the first of those three remaining woes, chapter 9. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them were given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green thing, nor any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. That is a big effect from a sting. 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Imagine that. Pain so great that you would just wish death would end it. And yet you're denied. You're forced to stay alive and suffer this pain. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates, as it were, breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. So they're strictly in attack mode, I would think. Verse 10, and they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. Now, I have not yet figured out if that's each individual sting lasts for 5 months, or whether the stinging will go on for 5 months. But I rather suspect that that is one or the other, because I think when the 5 months is up, this phenomenon will go away. Verse 11, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. And the sixth seal of the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. Now, you may have noticed back in the seal judgments, we lost a fourth of the population. If, let's just say, for the sake of argument, the population of the earth were 8 billion, a fourth of that 8 billion would be 2 billion. So we're down at this point, just for the sake of argument, to 6 billion. And now a third part of them are going to be done away with. That makes a total of half the world's population. That is a drastic reduction, just almost beyond comprehension. Verse 16, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. That's 200 million. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they did hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. Okay, so we've seen the final seal and 6 of the trumpets. But I think this is a good place to call a stop so that the time on this one video doesn't run very long. For now, I'll just say, may the Lord bless this reading of His Holy Scripture. And I appreciate everyone that watches my videos. And I hope you'll join me next time, and we'll begin right here where we left off at verse 1 of chapter 10. And I hope to see you back then.